What's up agents, Epic Slayers here. Today was the highly anticipated episode 100 of State of the Game. Now I have to say there was some good, some bad and some unknown. And there was a lot of information here which I expected, but there was a lot of information I didn't expect, not all good. So in this video I'm going to go over the good, the bad and the stuff we just don't know at this point. If you do enjoy this video, drop a like, subscribe, all the good stuff, and let's get into it. Alright agents, so we're going to start off with the good news. Update 1.8.2 will be coming out to all platforms on June 14th, which is only a week as of today, and it will only be a couple of days after the Division 2 reveal on June the 11th, so really looking forward to that. Now with Update 1.2 we are going to be getting 2 more legendary missions, a new achievement system, the shields, that would allow you to unlock rewards in the Division 2. Unfortunately, no information about shields at this point, and Massive are sticking to their guns and not providing any information about the Division 2 until the E3 reveal. So that's a little bit unfortunate. Probably should go in the bad slot as opposed to the good slot. A little bit unfortunate, but I think it's what most people were expecting. Now with Update 1.2 we are getting the new Encrypted Cache 4, and we are getting new Vanity Collections. On screen you will see the new Vanity Collections from left to right. We've got Recon Patrol, Centrist Call, Commando, Path of the Nomad, and then if you unlock all of those you get the bonus vanity set called Silver Bunker. I think Silver Bunker looks really cool, and I'm really glad they're adding these to the game, because at the end of the day most people are at the end game now. Most people are not farming for weapons and gear anymore. It's actually become, fashion end game, which is what most people, play the games for at this point. And I still get loads of messages about the jacket I wear in all my videos. It's a biker jacket. I'm not sure where I get it from, so hopefully that's answered everyone's questions. But ultimately, people like this sort of stuff, and I do too, so I'm really glad they're adding more. The premium store will start featuring non-collection items on a rotation from Mark 1 to 3, including emotes due to popular demand. And lastly, items that are currently exclusive to the store will be removed from the store. Now moving on, they talked about this new cache called the reactivation cache. Now, I'll read the description of this reactivation cache. Reactivation caches are designed for new and returning players to give them an extra boost once they have completed the campaign or are struggling with the endgame progression. The reactivation caches are free of charge and will be available for 3 weeks after 1.8.2 drops. You can get them from the reward claim vendor in the base of operations. Now these caches contain the following: 3 full 4-piece 256 gear score non-classified gear sets, that's Striker, D3 and Firecrest, cache of high-end gear so you can fill all your slots, cache of 5 random weapon attachments and mods, a cache with random weapons, and then the currency cache which has 3 cipher keys, 2000 Phoenix credits and 500 Division tech. And you'll obviously get one of those per account awarded to all players. Now I assume the reason they're adding this to the game is because they're expecting people to come back for the new shield achievements. Because if people are investing time into the Division 2 or looking into it, it makes sense to purchase the game when it's really cheap at this present time. Obviously they get this reactivation cache, they get back into the game day 1, and then obviously they can grind for those shield achievements. The only thing I would say is that 3 full 4-piece 256 gear score non-classified gear sets are not going to compete in PvP. Most people will run away. They've got no chance. In PvE, you're going to do okay with that, so that's absolutely fine. And I assume most of the shield achievements will be attached to PvE and not PvP. Now, moving on, we've got a big subject to talk about, and that's balancing changes. So let's get on to that. So I think it's fair to say that the balancing changes that were mentioned in today's State of the Game have been long awaiting, but I will have to say there are some good in here, which I'll talk about, and there are some bad in here, which I will talk about. So the good thing is they are addressing Predator's Mark. They've mentioned it's one of the most powerful sets in PvP, which it is, because it combines high damage output with high stamina. No other gear set can really do that, apart from Striker, when you're at full stacks. And they've actually said that bleed will now be cancelled by an immunization station. So I really hope that what they mean by that is if you stand in your immunization station, you cannot catch bleed, because currently the immunization can wipe bleed out, but if you stand in an immunization when you are hit with bleed, it doesn't work. So I really hope what they mean by that is if you stand in it, you don't get any bleed effect. They've actually changed the description of the 6-piece, which I'll read to you. It says hitting 10 shots without switching targets now applies the Predator's Mark, which makes the target bleed for 50% of the damage already done by those bullets. The damage over time to the target is increased by 15% for every 3000 stamina and can critically hit the target. When at 9000 stamina, the damage over time bonus is increased by an additional 120%. The Predator's Mark ignores the status effect immunity of NPCs. Now moving on to the good changes to balancing, we've also got Tactician's Authority. which they've changed again the description of the 6-piece. It says improved tacticians authority stacks will no longer reset when using elevators. Stacks will now be correctly lost upon activation of a recovery link. Moving on to Reclaimer, and the 6-piece has been changed as well to Reclaimer support stations will now self-destruct when the set is unequipped. Which I think the reason they did that is because there was the sort of glitch where you could run a Reclaimer, you could have a massive box effectively keeping you alive, and you could change gear sets through your loadouts, but that box would remain there, it wouldn't get destroyed, so ultimately you could be running Striker with an amazing Reclaimer station. You basically would never die, so that's obviously fixed that. The other changes they are making are they are increasing the Phoenix credits cap from 5,000 to 8,000. They've also said that support stations with the highest health per tick will now take priority when in range of several stations. That's a massive change and a really good one, because I know a lot of people have been complaining about that with the Reclaimer builds. So it's good that they've made that change. And lastly, and this is their attempt at trying to fix Cronus Max, guys. I don't know if it's going to work, but it says reduction to the auto snap on aim via a cooldown after the first use. We'll have to see how that gets on, but basically there will be a cooldown after you auto sort of snap on with a target, so hopefully that may try and fix the Cronus Max. I've heard people saying whilst that's good, there are ways around it with the Cronus Max. You can configure it to get around that. We'll have to wait and see, but at least you can see they're trying to obviously fix the problem. Really guys, that's all the good, so let's move on to the bad. So moving on to the bad, and I want to start off straight away with the balancing on one gear set at least, and talking about another one. So they've actually made some balancing changes to the path of Nomad. Now most people would agree that Nomad was built to be the sort of ultimate solo set, and a lot of people for a lot of time have been saying that this gear set is a problem in PvP because you get unlimited lives. I'm one of those people, don't get me wrong, I am one of those people. I'd much rather it be a solo set, but with that said, with the limited amount of versatility in this game, I didn't want Nomad to be a solo set, because effectively if it is, then you'll no longer see it in Skirmish or in Last Stand, because you're in group play. Ultimately the 6-piece is not going to work, and unfortunately guys, that's exactly what they've done. So they've actually changed the description of the 6-piece to 50% chance to have no cooldown for Path of the Nomad when playing solo. Takes 60% less damage for 10 seconds after Path of the Nomad is triggered. Effectively they've destroyed Path of the Nomad in PvP game modes like Last Stand and Skirmish. Yes, it'll work really well in the DZ, but you're not going to see it anymore in Skirmish and Last Stand. Now that's a real shame, because at this point in time, Predator's Mark has been nerfed because of immunization. Path of the Nomad is no longer on the table, so we'll have to look at what changes they're going to make to Striker, because ultimately Striker is a very powerful set. Yeah, when you're at 100 stacks, which you can get to fairly easily, when you're at 100 stacks, no one's stopping you. The only build that could probably compete with you is Predators at this point. But if you're running an immunization station like most people are, Predator's Mark's not going to touch you. So let's see what they've done to Striker. Oh, they've done nothing. And that's a real problem. So at this point in time, we've got Path of the Nomad, no longer in PvP really. Predator's Mark nerf, Striker exactly the same way. So everyone is going to be running Striker, is effectively what's going on, which in some ways makes it balanced, because if everyone's running Striker, then it's balanced. But the problem being there is effectively only one gear set now at this point that is going to be by far the most powerful. I mean, Striker, in my opinion, was already the most powerful gear set in the game. But with this, they've really made it so. I think most people will be running with Striker at this point, which is completely destroyed the versatility for gear sets in this game. In my opinion, with Predator's Mark, I think what they did was fine. I would have went down that road, but I've also added some sort of cooldown on the Predator's Mark bleed. That's what I would have personally done. Also, they need to remove the bleed when you're in a down state, because it doesn't give anyone, no other gear set can do that. When you're in a down state, the Predator's bleed mark still kills you, and it doesn't give anyone a chance to actually revive you, so that needs to be removed as well. I think Path of the Nomad needed to stay the same way it was, but they needed to reduce the bonus chance on the 6-piece. Either they, in group play, depending on how many people are involved, they reduce the chance, or it triggers once, and then after that one time, the chance of it happening again gets reduced dramatically, like by half. So the first time it's 50%, but then after that it goes down to 25%. I also think taking 60% less damage is ridiculous. I think that needed to be reduced massively, because ultimately with Path of the Nomad you can pretty much take on any build if you're at 10k firearms. As long as your Nomad keeps proccing, then you're going to take on any build and pretty much win, which is what I've experienced. So I am really disappointed that they haven't looked at Striker, and that really worries me because I thought Striker was one of those builds that the devs were aware of. I know a lot of people are talking about Predator's Martyr, but I really thought Striker was something they were looking into, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Apart from that, there isn't really a whole lot of bad stuff from the game, but that's really let me down. You'd have to let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, but I really think they've not done a good job there, to be honest. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Obviously, moving on to the unknown. Really, the unknown being we don't know anything about Shields at this point. We don't know anything about the Division 2. Now, I appreciate we probably were never going to get anything, and they're sticking by their guns. I would have liked to have seen something personally, but hey, we'll have to wait till June the 11th. Now guys, that's pretty much everything. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, drop a like on the video, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of the balancing changes to gear. In my opinion, they've really ruined versatility in this game, and in some ways they've made it balanced, because Striker is actually Striker is by far and away the best gear set in the game. If you don't have Striker, you're not going to play PvP in those game modes anymore. Simple as that. Thanks for your support. Peace out. Epic out.